One of the things that we have found is that boomers love contrasts. That's what makes them boomers. And one of the contrasts that many boomers love is the contrast between a home where they live most of the time and a getaway where they escape to because it's just so refreshing and exhilarating to be there. And so this is a unit that showcases 3 getaways. And what I love about them is that these are places that will become the primary residence when the boomers retire. And in 2 of the cases, they are already the primary residence. So think of it. You give up a home that's just your plain old everyday home, and you move someplace that's always been an exhilarating getaway for you, and now you're able to stay away. But at the same time, you can remain connected. The internet, telephone, telemedicine, telepharmacy allow people to remain connected. But the message is that getaways are exhilarating, but it can be just 500 yards from your primary property. Boomers are the first generation who will be living off the grid. Think of Georgia O'Keeffe, who during her adulthood moved out to Santa Fe and made art by herself in the desert. Boomers are the first generation who can live off the grid by choice, who don't have to be living in cities if they don't want to. My late grandmother used to say she never wanted to be more than 500 feet away from her doctors. But boomers can now maintain connection using telepharmacy, telemedicine, the internet, telephone, text messages, and be in touch with their doctors that way. And so what we're seeing are a generation of boomers who are now thinking about living off the grid. And the 3 houses in this unit celebrate the ability to live apart. This is also in Iowa, Wyoming Canyon Ranch. The next section then is called Working and Healing from Home. Many boomers plan to continue working. It's just that they don't want to be in offices. They want to be working from home. Our friend, James Weil, who was kind enough to give us permission to use his home in the book, James fell in love with and purchased a 17th century barn and had it shipped from Vermont down to Westport, where he lives, and had it tacked on to his home. Now, in retirement, James uses this barn for working and for healing. He has conferences and retreats in this barn room. He offers yoga classes. He's a yoga teacher, so he offers yoga classes there. And he has created a multi-purpose space on his property. Very few of us can afford to add 17th century barns to our homes. But the book is meant to be aspirational, meaning it can give you ideas about what you can do with imagination and energy and just a little bit of money. Well, maybe this isn't what you want to do. But it speaks to a whole other philosophy of aging. This was done by an architect by the name of Madeline Ginn. And Madeline Ginns, along with her late husband, whose name is Arakawa, have created a non-Western philosophy of aging. It's called reversible destiny. It's very, very influential in Japan. And the idea behind reversible destiny lofts in Japan and Bioscleve House, which you're looking at here, is the idea that the house challenges you to stay young. It does that by creating tilted surfaces, textured surfaces, crazy colors, angles, all kinds of surprises that are meant to keep you challenged in the home. And we know that she's never broken a hip. We know that.
And I think one of the reasons, I mean, obviously this is a very colorful project, but one of the reasons that Jeff and I really like this project is, as far out as it is, it's also somewhat emblematic of this notion of boomers wanting to be challenged by their homes and in their homes. I mean, it's one of the reasons you are still seeing a lot of stairs. So in this crazy kind of way, everything in this house challenges you at the scale of getting through a room, but also the scale in the upper left of simply wayfinding yourself around this compound. But I think we really like this because it sort of stands for a kind of a broader, at the less extreme, a broader boomer theme.
This was designed by Reggie Tuggle for his mother who has Parkinson's. It's a remarkable home. It's featured on the cover of the book, on the back cover of the book, actually. And what's so relevant about the home is that it doesn't look like a home for a person with Parkinson's, but it's deliberately designed for the mother who has Parkinson's. And so the way Reggie designed it, he created those, are those cantilevered, would you call that? Those V-shaped beams so she can hold on to them as she walks across the room. And you'll notice that in Luminous Bodies and in many of the homes in our book, there are no carpets on the floors. The floor plan is deliberately bare and sparse so that it minimizes slipping and sliding and tripping along the floor. Luminous Bodies. One of the great mythologies, we now understand that it's not true, but one of the great myths is that boomers are moving into communes. We haven't found any cases of boomers moving into communes. There is a growing number of older people who are moving into what we call senior co-housing, and that's really becoming a viable option for older people. The most well-known example in the nation is a place called Silver Sage out in Colorado. But what we have discovered about boomers is that they move to a place, they may not know anybody when they move to the place, but once they get there, they start making friends and creating community. So it's not like they're taking a group of 5 or 6 friends and starting a community, but they create community when they get to a place. This is a Seattle community built by a group called P&B Elemental, where people didn't know each other when they moved there, but now 5 years later, they are a wild and crazy bunch of people. Boomers, one and all. One of our favorites is Ross Street House. It was designed by an architect and her husband, and they retired to Milwaukee. Perhaps it shouldn't surprise you that there's a beer-making room in the basement. What else would you expect from a home in Milwaukee? This is one of the homes that has stairs now, but an elevator shaft ready for when and if they do need an elevator. There are home offices in this building, also a playroom for grandchildren, and the ever-popular beer-making room. We've taken you quickly through about half the projects in the book. It took Wid and I about a year, and with the help of our editor, Elizabeth White, it went from being just a collection of 33 projects into a book that we hope you will all enjoy and learn from. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Wid.
Oh, well, I really don't have. That was wonderful. I don't have a lot to add to Jeff's wonderful words. I do think that it can't be overestimated, overstated. It is the role of technology, something that we're not actually seeing in a lot of these homes. But I've been thinking about that. Boomers didn't invent Facebook, so it's kind of interesting. It's sort of, but it's provided maybe what you might call a boomer spring. Where they've appropriated this technology, and it really is opening up all sorts of possibilities. The most obvious is being off the grid, but there's a connectivity that is both social. Jeff mentioned telemedicine, which is only going to become more sophisticated, where you can monitor your medical condition from a distance. It really has a profound impact and a profound it provides a profound sort of sense of freedom for this generation as they age.
As we look around the room, we see so many friends and so many people who make us very happy that we could write a book like this. So we wanted to thank you all for turning out. There are copies there if you are interested. We're happy to chat with you about the book, and enjoy this beautiful spring evening, and welcome to Barnes & Noble.